Alright, we are finally back at it. Okay, bye. I was gonna talk to you, but whatever. We're at Wilderness and we are out at their pavilion. We usually do the show over there in the gym, but because of COVID, they want more people to be able to see the show, so they have us out here. We did it once before, but with trying to, it was one of our first shows back, so we were trying to wrap our heads around figuring out audience participation from a distance and different things like that. So
we moved the park benches around. We had to put furniture before anybody could get here, so we didn't have time to film anything.
Right. And so they had like one family per table, and then more people showed up and they parked their golf carts back here, and then more people showed up and they just stood up around there. So it seemed like a lot of people, but they were all socially distanced, right, Lana? Because they kept a family per table, which was only, you know, maybe 4 people tops at each table, so it really wasn't. And I don't think they had this many tables last time.
Yeah, they did.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Anyway, back at it. We have a show here today, and then we have a private family party at a park later this evening, which we won't be able to video at, but we have shows. Yay!
Boo.
Apparently our kid wants to become homeless and not do shows, but Wes and I are excited. Aren't you, Wes? Woo!
This is show business right here. Miserable heat.
Oh,
outside.
It is disgustingly humid.
100 degrees. But we get to perform again. That's what I was born for, baby.
Oh my.
People always ask how I balance my family life with 400 shows a year. I'm just doing what I love with the people I love. It's my magic life.
So we just got done with the show. That'll probably be in next week's episode. We're all soaking wet. This was at a swim club, and I had to carry it straight downhill. It was 100 yards, 150 yards straight downhill to a little platform. Yeah, just in a field.
Yeah.
And no shade.
No.
Ow.
So I just had them walk down, and I had to go back to the car over and over. Our normal load in is a cart and a dolly, and we're in.
Yeah.
But when you have to go over gullies and rocks, and I'm not talking about rocks, I'm talking about boulders like this.
Yeah.
You can't take the cart. Everything will just fall off of it, so I have to take it piece by piece. And man, I told Natalie, I said, just breathing in the show,
Yeah.
sweat was going up my nostril when I inhaled, and that's
Yeah, it
not...
was hot. It was very hot.
So bad.
And I was forbade from helping him bring stuff in and out, so
In case
he
you
wouldn't let me.
I didn't want you falling, I didn't want
know.
you passing
But
out.
I felt useless and I felt bad. I felt really bad that he's doing it by himself. But anyway, it was hot though. It was very, very hot. And we all brought 2 water bottles of water just for me. I got her some water and brought that too. So
I actually don't.
Wes brought water, but he left it in the van.
But here's the thing, we did Wilderness Resort,
Yeah.
and it was outside.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing outside shows.
Yeah.
There is no inside shows anymore because people are afraid.
Yeah.
But when you get all these people out there, they sit right beside each other. So
Yeah.
why couldn't they? I don't know. Because sunlight kills it. I don't know.
I don't know either. Yeah, they didn't want to do it indoors because people would be sitting right next to each other, but they did outdoors and people were sitting right next to each other. But you're outdoors. I don't know. I guess it makes a difference. I don't know. Maybe they could have more people because
Oh, I did hear people.
I don't know.
Said
I don't know. But all these shows are being outdoors because they're trying to do the distancing thing and they're really trying to follow rules. They don't want to get in trouble, which I can understand. So, but on days like today,
It was 97 outside, felt like 102.
yeah, it was hot.
I
I mean, you're just dripping. and he was taking trips up and down. I wasn't. I just set up the show and I was dripping. So it was hot.
I overheard the people from Medicine Island.
Wilderness, you mean?
Wilderness,
Uh-huh.
They said it's better because they're not breathing out other people's air.
Oh, being outside. Yeah, you're not recirculating air. Yep.
So after our win on Fool Us, the phone rang the next morning. No, I got an email the next morning from people from America's Got Talent. They saw my video, they loved my video, and they wanted to talk. It took a couple days to get the interview together, and they called us and said, hey, we'd like you to be on next season. Would you be willing to do it? So Natalie and I had some concerns, some worries.
We had a frank conversation.
Which was awesome.
Yeah, it was nice. We were like, we're just be upfront with you, and so he was upfront with us about things, and so that was nice to kind of figure things out. But this is just the very early stages. This is the scout person to find talent, and so if they do have Wes or us or whatever we do on the show, he doesn't have to wait in line. He gets right in front of the judges, TV judges, which is nice. That's great. Because that's, I'm sure, a long day or two of waiting.
Out there, all that
again,
craziness.
it's early stages. They haven't finished this season, so he was just kind of putting feelers out. Would you be interested? And so we talked about a few things, and when he gave us his answers, we were like, yeah, I think we'd be interested. But it's got to go to so many more levels before.
This is very early stages, so nothing's booked now.
But it's still exciting. It's
Yeah,
still pretty
it's
cool
awesome.
that somebody from AGT thinks we'd be
Can you look at the
neat
camera?
on the
I don't know
show. Okay.
what you do. Party Magic.
Hey Wes, this is John calling from AGT.
What's up, buddy? How are you?
Good, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Phone's still ringing. People are still contacting me and texting me and sharing the video, congratulating me, man. It's still fresh and crazy.
That's good, that's all you can ask for, because even just in watching so much magic, sometimes you can kind of pick up on things. And what I liked about your performance was that it's very interactive, and it's also an impossible outcome.
And by the way, my wife, if you saw the clip, she's always with me. She's on speakerphone with me right now. So her name's Natalie.
Hi.
Hi Natalie, nice
Hi.
to meet you.
Yes. So I do 3 different versions of that trick. I have a close-up version where it's just one-on-one, or if I'm doing like a wedding or something, I can do just a small table, and I'll have one person as my secretary, and I'll play the trick with the other one, and they play the game and just call it heads, tails, and see how many they get right. And the prediction on the back says you got them all right except for number 4. So yes, I can change the prediction.
Or you can
In
just
my parlor show, in my smaller family shows that I do, I bring up 5 people on stage, so they're the focus, and we play the game with those 5 people, and then I have a person on my left that reads heads or tails to verify for the audience that I'm not just saying it's heads and tails. That person's the verifier. So yeah, I mean, we could get a handful of people from the audience and a couple of the judges. We could do so many different versions of that trick, and I can have other kickers involved in it. It doesn't have to be that way.
Oh, awesome. Okay, yeah, at least good to know, because, you know, I always want when people come on the show to kind of give them the biggest boost in, like, online views and just having the best possible performance on our stage now.
Okay.
Hey, you just made all my worries go away. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
That helps.
Okay, cool, man. I'll talk to you in a few months then, Les.
All right. Hey, one more thing. Scheduling.
Yeah.
So how do I pencil out dates? Because we have so many shows on the books, and people are booking. Not obviously now because of COVID, but hopefully the world comes back around. How will you be able to give us blocks of dates in advance, just in case? So in the past 5 years, I've gotten an email from AGT saying, "Hey, we've seen your stuff. We'd like you to come audition." But now they're saying, "Dude, we saw you on Fool Us. It was awesome. Would you be willing to do this? We'll fly you out. We'll get you right in front of the judges. We'll give you a per diem. We'll give you a hotel."
Yeah.
It's no longer,
It's much
"We'd
better,
like you to come
yeah.
audition and wait in line for 10 days.
It's a much better deal. So But so that's really cool. It's really neat. It'll be a fun opportunity if we can get that far. So I think that'll be really neat. But they're still doing this season, so he was just putting feelers out, and we won't be talking to him again until like October, I think is what he said, to kind of start the process of going up the chain of command, I guess you could say, of the people that run the show to see if we actually get on there. But still pretty cool.
Where is America's Got Talent?
Los Angeles, out in California.
It's even further away than Las Vegas.
Yep.
But guess what? Our publicist Jessica lives there, so maybe she can hang out with us.
Yeah, see her face to face, in person.
There you go. Talking about my publicist, she contacted me this week and said I have an interview coming up, maybe the second week of August, with the Man Cave Chronicles podcast. And I checked out a couple episodes, and it sounds pretty cool. They interview characters on television shows. It might not be the lead character. It might be just a secondary character or somebody that came in for like a 10-episode run. And different actors. So it's not A-listers, but I wouldn't say it's D-listers either. It's up-and-comers. And I'm really excited to do this. I'm going to talk to him about getting Natalie and myself on there, because Natalie has, just like in Magiclife, she reminds me of things and sparks conversation and can really get the ball going. So that'll be fun. And also, the Fellowship of Christian Magicians contacted me last night and said that they wanted to do something special since my win, and since I'm a Christian magician, and since I'm a member of that group. They have a podcast. They want to interview me for that podcast and maybe do another article in the magazine about me and our family and our magic life. So that'd be cool.
Yeah, very neat.
What's next?
What's next? All right. It is the end of July. Natalie is how far along in your pregnancy?
A little over 6 months. 6 months-ish, a little over. I have around 3 months left, a little less.
She says with twins in there, she doesn't know how she's going to stretch.
No. My belly, I'm telling you, my belly is as big as it was when I was done with Lana, if not a little bigger. And I don't know how I have 3 more months of stretching in me. I just don't see it.
You got twins in there.
Explode. Like many writers, Seamus Haney was also a big reader. The first book he ever owned was the adventure novel Kidnapped by Robert Louis Stevenson, who wrote the poem Windy Nights.
What do I need to read it?
He read a lot.
I thought you said he's a big wiener. Hey, lift up your arm, Mommy.
Lift up my arm.
Let me see how big you are.
Oh.
Golly. How much longer we got?
3
Well,
months.
they said
We still have 3 months to go?
Yeah.
We already have.
How you doing teaching school?
If they make it to full term, if not 2.5-ish.
How you doing teaching school?
It's uncomfortable
Why don't you guys trade chairs? That don't seem fair.
because it's still uncomfortable. It just doesn't matter. It's sitting down for a long period of time.
I have an
It's
idea.
not comfortable. Yeah. She gives me pillows to sit on. It's very nice of her, but it's still uncomfortable. It's very sweet of her though.
Golly, you guys got it all worked out.
And it doesn't matter if I'm just sitting, my ankles swell up just sitting without putting them up. It's ridiculous. Roller gun, the poet uses a pen. I'll dig with it.
I don't want to get in trouble, so I'm asking
Okay.
permission.
What?
Can I videotape your ankles?
They're not bad yet. They're only
Golly.
a little bit chunky.
Well, you see that they're red, that's all.
Yeah, your feet are red.
No, sorry.
What are you, overheating in here? You working
I'm
hard?
hot. I'm hot.
Well, the air conditioner's on.
Yeah, I know, but it's not hot. I'm sweating.
It's because you're cooking 2 babies.
Maybe that's it.
Your thermostat's revved up
But
high.
I'm not
Yeah.
sweating. It's hot, but I'm not
sweating.
sweating.
You're not pregnant, are you, Lana?
We're still doing school with Lana. I know it's the end of July, but we had a really busy December, January, and February, which normally it's a slow January and February, but thank goodness it was a very busy one because everything stopped in mid-March.
We needed money, you're right.
So anyway, we were so busy and just so tired that we didn't get much school done. So while people would normally be done, you know, end of May or June, well, we're making up for December, January, and February. So we're almost done. I think we have something like 9 more days left. So just a little over a week left of school.
I think it was like 11 or something.
Yeah, but we've done school. So she's almost done. We're almost there. And then
I heard that you're doing your end of year math test right now, and then you're done with math the rest of the year.
yep.
That'll be good.
Math
This
will
is
be
my
done.
second day actually doing
The big test.
Well, we had to
because-
stop in time to leave, so, but yeah. Yep. So
That's how you're all dressed up.
we've been doing it every day that we can, and it's getting more and more uncomfortable for me sitting in a chair. So there will be times when I'm standing because I have to read to her a book, and it's just kind of like reading comprehension time. So I read part of a book to her, and she has to answer questions on it and make sure she understood. So I'll be standing up, walking around, and then I'll be sitting down, and just I get uncomfortable. It's not comfortable anymore. But it is what it is and it has to be done. So,
My mommy's.
What a woman.
don't be sarcastic. Be nice.
So tell them about your. We just got back from a magic show. We'll probably have footage of that next week. But just a 45-minute car ride.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't take much. I'm hoping once it cools down a little, it won't be as bad, but my feet and my ankles swell so bad just sitting down for like 30 minutes.
And it's so quick.
Yeah, it's done. You sit down and they just, dang. So, it's a good thing I wear pants to shows. People just think I have fat feet, but whatever. But at least they won't be able to see my cankles. But I put my feet up, I'm going to put my feet up after this is over and they'll go down.
Captain
Takes a couple hours, but they go down.
Captain Cankle, she called you.
Takes a lot.
Lana, good one. Give me 5, girl. Go. Oh.
That was a good one.
But
that was cute.
I made omelets for breakfast and turkey bacon. I made Natalie an extra big omelet with extra turkey bacon. And on the way to the show, she had lunch.
I had a Cliff Bar and grapes.
And as soon as the show was over,
I ate another Cliff Bar because I was starving.
and as soon as this is over,
We're eating dinner because I'm starving.
I'm
I'm hungry all the time. It's like I eat a meal and give it 2 hours tops and I need something to eat. I'm hungry. And it's not just, ooh, I'm a little peckish. It's like I get shaky. I'm so hungry. I mean, it just hits me and I gotta eat something. And then I feel like a lump. I'm like, what's all I do is eat. And I feel so
and put
big.
your feet up on the couch.
I know. I feel so big, but I'm honestly hungry. It's
I
not
believe
just,
you. I believe you.
Well, not just the munchies. It's hunger. I try to do good though. Have grapes and
Apples.
and yeah, I try. I indulge every once in a while. I had some s'mores yesterday, but
I was with mommy with after the show because I was hungry after the show.
you were hungry after the show. I'm
Because I ate all my stuff before we even did the show.
yeah, me too.
It was like the starting of
Well, you should have been good. That was your lunch.
I got
That's okay. Growing girl over here.
Another cool thing this week, on Monday I get an email saying would I be willing to judge a magic contest, would I be willing to go online to a Zoom meeting for the International Brotherhood of Magicians Ring 50, which is the Northern Virginia ring, so Maryland and DC and all that get together, and it's a bunch of magicians, and since it's COVID they can't do their regular meetings in the building, so they do it over Zoom. And I used to be a member of that group. It's a 2.5, 3 hour drive to get there, so it's just I let my membership lapse. But they still consider me family and ask me to tell everybody about my fullest experience.
So I was doing 400 shows a year for the past 20 years, just doing every gig that came along. I didn't turn down anything. If they accepted our price that we offered, we did the show. And that meant we did every kind of show you can imagine, and I even did 2 restaurants a week. At one point I was doing 9 restaurants 6 days a week, but that for me kind of felt like a real job after a while. You're clocking in every night at 5:30 and you're seeing the same venue and the same people every week. So as the restaurants fell to the wayside over the years, I just stuck with 2 restaurants and waiting for those to fall by the wayside. And one night my wife and daughter came with me to the restaurant because we homeschool our daughter, so they just sat in a booth by themselves. And as I was eating dinner after my shift, I got an email from Sean Farquhar that said, hey, they're offering a new year of Fool Us. Here's the email, send your tape. And just something hit me. I never thought that I would want to be on the show, that I had something that would fool them. But just that night, just lightning struck, everything was perfect. And I said, I have a trick that I've had in my show for years. It's definitely different, unique, and let's try it. And I sent the tape and I got accepted right away. The next email I got, they said, we love it. Now, how did you do it? And I was like, wait a second, what do you mean? Because I'm supposed to fool Penn and Teller if everybody knows how I did it. They were like, no, we have to know that there's no stooges involved. We have to know what actually is entailed so we can set up the cameras and everything. And once they explained all that, I told Michael Close and the other guys working backstage how it worked. They loved it, and my wife does all the booking arrangements. Since October last year through March this year, we were emailing about every 2 weeks, and then in January, February this year, we were emailing like every other day. It got really intense. They sent us a production team. That 45-second intro that you see at the beginning of the show, that was 6 months of emails, pictures, questionnaires, interviews. I sent videotapes, Instagram videos that I've done over the years. Just sent them everything I could do, everything that I had, so that they could pick and choose from what they wanted. And then when we got to Vegas, we actually filmed for that 45-second intro an additional 4 hours with 4 costume changes, 4 location shoots, and a whole bunch of different scenes on those location shoots. And that all got dwindled down to 45 seconds. So it's pretty intense. People don't realize all that's involved. Another thing on the show, when you're talking to Allison in the middle of the show, that can go on for 10 minutes, that interview. So during that, I talked about that I do a reality show called Wes Iseli's Magiclife that follows my family around doing 400 shows a year. I talked about a charity show that we do called Wes Iseli's Magic of Giving Project, where I give back in a magical way each month, where I produced a car for a lady in need in episode 15 and gave it to her. We talked about all these different things, but we also talked about my family and they were in the audience, and that's the part that they went with. So it's pretty neat to see the behind the scenes stuff. And then after I won, I mean, the awards just kept coming, and the accolades just kept coming. I thought it would be over. You know, hey, I've done it. Then the world ended, and I was sitting at home. Now, when we filmed that, my wife was 3 months pregnant. Now she's, she was 2 months pregnant, something. And now we found out we're having twins, and our twins are due in October. So I told them, hey, what do we do? And they said they liked me a whole bunch, and they'll make it work. If I can't come out until spring of next year, they'll make it work for me, which was really cool. It's not like they said, hey, you have to come in this window. Whenever you can get back is awesome.
So Wes liked you a whole bunch is a little bit of an understatement. Penn said it was his favorite trick of the season. He couldn't love it more. He immediately bought it for his show, right? And so tell us a little bit about the follow-up discussion in his podcast.
I couldn't believe it. All right, so you guys are all magicians. When you buy a magic trick, no matter how great it is at a convention, and you love it, and you'll tell everybody, buy this trick, buy this trick. Fast forward 6 months. How do you feel about that trick? So when I heard that he was going to be discussing my episode on his podcast, I was way more nervous about the podcast than I was performing that night on that stage. The night on that stage, I was expecting it to be a whole bunch more. I do local television shows. on the news, and I do interviews and things like that. So I'm used to that. So the cameras and everything doesn't bother me. Performing for people that I idolize, that bothered me because they're sitting there like this. But when I walked out on that stage, something they did, they had a twinkle in their eye. They were like, "You've been vetted. We're rooting for you." And Teller gave me a wink or gave me a thumbs up, and Penn was like, "All right, dude, you can do it." And I looked over the audience, and it was 500 people, less than 500. And the director told me that I had to say it was the world's largest game of heads and tails. And if you rewatch my episode, I was doing what the director told me to do to make him happy, but it was outside of my character. And luckily they noticed that, because if you watch my episode again, when I say it's the world's largest game of heads and tails, I really animated myself and went out of character, because that's what the director told me to do. But they cut to Allison or Penn and Teller at that scene, which I'm very thankful for. I was doing what I was told, but it wasn't me, and it showed. So, it wasn't the world's largest game. I know there's millions of people watching at home, but for me in that moment, I didn't care about the cameras and people at home. I was performing for that audience. And they were a really warm audience. They warmed up the crowd. They have a comedian in between acts. I thought it would be difficult, like at a magic convention, you walk out, you have 8 minutes. You have to tell people who you are, get them on your side, go through your routine, try to wow them, and get out. And you have to do all that in that 8-minute span. Well, this is 8 minutes, but of one trick, and you don't get to introduce yourself to the audience. But that was an easy audience. They clapped loudly and cheered, and you saw the one lady dancing when I said, you can relax between rounds. So that made it all easy. But I'm on a tangent, and I have no idea if I got to your question. What was your question?
And it was really fun. Then they asked me to judge a magic competition, which was also awesome. And then once it was all over, Natalie held the camera. Our internet isn't that great here at the house, so Natalie held my cell phone and videotaped me doing a trick for the guys and girls at the club. And I got a whole bunch of emails afterwards saying that was just fantastic, and they had a great time, and they really appreciated it. And I had a blast. It was awesome. So we sat down to put this episode together, and we were like, what do we have to talk about this week? Not much. But you start thinking about it, it's like, it's a lot to get in. We had a lot going on. We still have a lot going on.
Yeah. I just, I can't wait to do more shows. Just, hopefully, we get to move them indoors when it's winter time and it's cold.
Yeah.
It's
Anyway.
one thing to sweat, it's another thing to not be able to feel your fingers.
Our toes.
Your toes, yeah.
See you next week.